26.5 is going to be a pro-focused patch with nerfs to Orianna, Azir, and Nico, while we've got some buffs to Lee Sin and Mel. Now, we're going to cover everything that you need to know heading into this patch in today's video, as we can expect 26.5 to hit live servers this upcoming Wednesday, March 4th. So, starting with the item changes, Hubris has been a pretty forgotten item as of late, rarely purchased as a core item on many champions, so it's going to have its cost lowered for this patch, going from 3,000 to 2,800 gold. Kayn, Qiyana, and Draven are a couple of champs to keep your eye on with Hubris for 26.5, as they had liked the item in the past, so we're going to have to see if it makes a comeback on any of them. Now, Locket is going to receive a buff with its shield going from 200 scaling to 360, with the scaling starting at level 1, to now 290 scaling to 360, with the scaling starting at level 8. So for reference here, level 8 shield of Locket in 26.4 is 260. So this means you're going to be getting 30 extra shielding from Locket at level 8 in 26.5, as it's going to go up to 290. Bandle Pipes has continued to remain the better purchase over Locket in most cases in recent patches, so the Locket buffs should bring the items closer in value. So on to the champion changes now. Riot has a couple of buffs planned for Garen, with his Q movement speed duration being increased from 1 scaling to 3.6 seconds to 1.4 scaling to 3.6 seconds. E damage total AD ratio is going up as well, from 38 scaling to 50% to 40 scaling to 52%. Lee Sin is going to receive a damage buff to his Q, going from 60 scaling to 180 to 65 scaling to 185. Now this is both for Q1 and Q2, so technically it's a 10 damage increase instead of 5. A few Lilia adjustments are on the way, with her passive monster heal AP ratio being increased from 9 to 15%. Q AP ratio is going up from 30 to 35%. R base damage is going down by 50 at all ranks, while the AP ratio drops from 45 to 40%, and R cooldown is being increased by 10 seconds at all ranks. So Riot does have these changes under the buff category. However, we'd be pretty surprised if they landed significantly net positive. The R nerfs are definitely pretty big, but maybe we're underestimating the passives and the Q buffs. Regardless though, Lilia shouldn't really be gaining much power at all for 26.5, and we honestly wouldn't be surprised if she actually lost power due to these R changes. After settling out around a 47% win rate since her mini rework, Mel is getting buffed for this patch, with her Q damage per additional bolt is going from 5 scaling to 9 to 5 scaling to 13. R base damage is being increased from 100 scaling to 200 to 125 scaling to 275, and then passive minion mod is going to be reduced from 60 to 50%. Nocturne is going to be issued 2 buffs, with his passive cooldown being lowered from 13 to 12 seconds, and then Q movement speed is going up from 15 scaling to 35% to 20 scaling to 40%. Volibear is buffed for this patch, so the AD builds become more viable on him, as his Q-AD ratio is going up from 140 to 160%. W-empowered bonus AD ratio is going up from 15 to 25%. W mana cost is going to be dropping from 30 scaling to 50 to 20 scaling to 40, and then E mana cost is going to be reduced from 60 to 50. First up on the nerf list for this patch is Kha'Zix, as his Q bonus AD ratio takes a hit, going from 110 to 105%. Base movement speed is being nerfed as well, going from 350 to 345. We've got a nerf on the way for Nico, as her Q cooldown is going to now start on W clone expiration. Orianna is going to be tagged with a nerf, as her Q cooldown is going to be going up from 6 scaling to 3 seconds to 7 scaling to 3 seconds. Talia is going to be losing some damage on her Q, as the base is dropping from 55 scaling to 125 to 50 scaling to 120. Q bonus monster damage is going up, however, from 20 scaling to 40 to 23 scaling to 43. So less of a blow to jungle Talia compared to mid. And then, with this being a pro-focused patch, not a surprise at all to see Azir being nerfed, with his health growth going down from 119 to 108. Varus is going to be adjusted in a few different ways, with his Q max damage going down from 80 scaling to 400 to 80 scaling to 360. Q bonus AD ratio is being changed from 130 scaling to 170% to 150 at all ranks. And W on hit damage is now going to have a 15% bonus AD ratio added. So some more changes here to try and combat lethality poke Varus, while boosting the relative power of on hit Varus.
Okay guys, one last thing. Our rank up guarantee is absolutely insane. It's kind of like signing up for the gym and then just getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in SkillCapped. We obsess over making the best guides with the top players, the rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb as easy as possible. If you're ready to level up, just visit skillcapped.com and literally see the difference.
So there you have it, everyone. This patch is super light compared to the previous 2 that we've had, as Riot doesn't want to shake up the meta very much right now, with the first big pro tournament coming up soon called First Stand. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see ya in the next one.